Punishable acts. The following conditions are present. A. The commercial electronic communication contains a simple, valid, and reliable way for the recipient to reject receipt of further commercial electronic messages from the same source. B. The commercial electronic communication does not purposely disguise the source of the electronic message. And C. The commercial electronic communication does not purposely include misleading information in any part of the message in order to induce the recipients to read the message. Number 4. Libel. The unlawful or prohibited acts of libel as defined in Article 355 of the Revised Penal Code as amended committed through a computer system or any other similar means which may be devised in the future. Section 5. Other offenses. The following acts shall also constitute an offense. A. Aiding or abetting in the commission of cybercrime. Any person who willfully abets or aids in the commission of any of the offenses enumerated in this act shall be held liable. B. Attempt in the commission of cybercrime. Any person who willfully attempts to commit any of the offenses enumerated in this act shall be held liable. Section 6. All crimes defined and penalized by the Revised Penal Code, as amended, and special laws, if committed by, through and with the use of information and communications technologies, shall be covered by the relevant provisions of this Act, provided that the penalty to be imposed shall be 1 degree higher than that provided for the Revised Penal Code, as amended, and special laws as the case may be. Section 7. Liability under other laws. Prosecutions under this Act shall be without prejudice to any liability for violation of any provisions of the Revised Penal Code as amended or special laws. Section 8. Penalties. Any person found guilty of any of the punishable acts enumerated in Section 4A and 4B of this Act shall be punished with the imprisonment of prison mayor or a fine at least 200,000 pesos up to a maximum amount of commensurate to damage incurred or both. Any person found guilty of the punishable act under Section A.5 shall be punished with the imprisonment of prison mayor or a fine of not more than 500,000 pesos. If punishable acts in Section 4A are committed against critical infrastructure, the penalty of reclusion temporal or a fine of at least 500,000 pesos up to maximum amount commensurate to the damage incurred or both shall be imposed. Any person found guilty of any of the punishable acts enumerated in Section 4C.1 of this Act shall be punished with the imprisonment of prison mayor or a fine of at least 200,000 pesos but not exceeding 1 million pesos or both. Any person found guilty of any of the punishable acts enumerated in Section 4C.2 of this Act shall be punished with the penalties as enumerated in Republic Act Number 9775 or the Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009, provided that the penalty to be imposed shall be 1 degree higher than that provided for in Republic Act Number 9775 of committed through a computer system. Any person found guilty of any of the punishable acts enumerated in Section 4C.3 shall be punished with the imprisonment of arrest mayor or a fine at least 50,000 pesos but not exceeding 250,000 pesos or both. Any person found guilty of any of the punishable act enumerated in Section 5 shall be punished with the imprisonment 1 degree lower than that the prescribed penalty for the offense or a fine of at least 100,000 pesos but not exceeding 500,000 pesos or both. Section 9. Corporate Liability. When any of the punishable acts herein defined are knowingly committed on behalf of or for the benefit of a juridical person, by a natural person acting either individually or as part of an organ of the juridical person who has leading position within, based on a power of representation of juridical person provided the act committed falls with the scope of such authority. B. An authority to take decisions on behalf of juridical person provided that the act committed falls within the scope of B. An authority to take decisions on behalf of the juridical person provided that the act committed falls within the scope of such authority. Or C. An authority to exercise control within the juridical person. The juridical person shall be held liable for a fine equivalent to at least double the fines imposable in Section 7 up to maximum of 10 million pesos.